Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now for Media Watch, and I'm joined in this studio by James Creedon. Good evening to you, James.
Evening, Laura.
Now, there's just one story everyone's talking about tonight, and of course, it's this film that allegedly insults Islam, and which, of course, has sparked angry protests not only in Egypt, but of course in Libya, where the American diplomat Christopher Stevens was murdered. Now, let's just talk a bit about the film, which most people would agree is pretty awful. Content aside, it's just badly made, isn't it?
That's right, and that's really, I mean, there's no, what would you say? It's everybody's agreeing on that particular point. It's just bad quality.
I mean, I'm no film critic, but I saw a snippet of it, and it doesn't look like a.
You can get it on YouTube, and we have a little clip of it here. And as many were saying, lots of fake tan. No, we're not going to play the clip, obviously, because it's very provocative. But you can see it on YouTube. Mohammed, it's called "The Innocence of Muslims." Now, just to quickly jump to one piece of analysis, which I think hit the nail on the head. This was on Rue 89 today by Pierre Aski. He's a co-founder. He said, an extremely poor film technically, and so simplistic in its substance that it's laughable. And he said, you know, it's like waving a red flag in front of even moderately religious Muslims. Now, to give us a sense of the content here, Muhammad is represented as the homosexual son of unknown parents who is in favour of child slavery and sex outside marriage in the name of religion. Slightly provocative.
Well, it's just hateful, isn't it? I mean, it's a hateful film.
And as Pierre Aski said, these provocateurs who only speak for themselves are deliberately playing with fire, knowing full well that they'll find people on the other side who will react kind of automatically and will respond to the provocation with the same destructive fervour. So it's, you know, I suppose it's hatred meeting hatred, and it's just creating this sort of disease.
Well, it's a hateful film, but as American politicians have been pointing out today, we live in a free society, and people can make films about whatever they like.
That's right, and I think that is often what the debate comes down to. And we remember the caricatures in Denmark back in 2005.
And here in Paris, it made me think of, I remember you were
Charlie
here talking
Hebdo.
about Charlie Hebdo.
Actually, I'll talk about that now. I was going to talk about it in a sec, but this was the front cover of Charlie Hebdo that sparked a lot of unrest.
They were firebombed,
a year
weren't
ago.
they?
That's right. And in 2005, there was something similar in Denmark, which saw 12 people. Now, there is a distinction to be made, really, in the sense that, and Pierre Aski in Rue 89, going back to him again, he made this distinction. He said, look, it's basically, Charlie Hebdo did, what they were doing, these demonstrations, is they were defending a tradition of secular thinking, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and all of that. What Sam Basile, the guy who behind this movie, is doing is simply declaring war on religion. It's not really the same thing. What's more, that film was subtitled into Arabic and put up on YouTube. It was much more provocative, really, than cartoons that were about, I suppose, more of a statement on freedom of speech.
The irony is, it was released back in June or July, I think,
right,
just in English, and it sank without a trace. Nobody was talking about this film. No one was talking about this guy.
Because it's a bad movie.
Because it's awful. And now, look what's happened. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, this is the first American diplomat to be murdered abroad in more than 20 years. Right. Very shocking for Americans to wake up to that this morning. Already, inevitably, it has turned political.
That's right. Just to show you some of the reaction there, this Mitt Romney got in on the game and got political about it. Obviously, a presidential election coming up. A lot of people very critical of what he said, saying that it was shameful. Now, to give an exact sense of what he said, it's disgraceful that the Obama administration's first response was not to condemn attacks on our diplomatic missions, but to sympathise with those who waged the attacks. Now, he was speaking about the Obama administration's official response. That was actually the embassy in Cairo, who were tweeting while they were almost under siege. You can see it here. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. Not just in Libya, but also in Cairo, unrest was sparked. Of course, we condemn breaches of our compound. We're the ones actually living through this. You can see that people were in the embassy. Now, one tweet that they issued was this one: we condemn the continuing efforts by misguided individuals to hurt the religious feelings of Muslims. Now, there's a lot of analysis there has said, look, they were simply trying to calm a very tense situation in Cairo. Romney jumped on this. Romney jumped on this, saying it was an apology by the Obama administration. Right. No, it's an embassy. They were in the midst of all the unrest. You could say they're representing the Obama administration, but I think Mitt Romney certainly misrepresented what actually happened.
Well, it remains to be seen who gets a bump in the polls from it, doesn't it?
That's right.
Now, Afghanistan, I've been mentioning earlier, President Hamid Karzai has not condemned the killings in Libya. He has condemned the film, though, and Afghanistan has also banned YouTube for the day, just to stop anyone else seeing it.
last time I checked, it is back up and running now, but they banned YouTube over the anti-Islam movie. In other words, you can't, not alone can you not watch the film, you can't even go on the platform that would perhaps give you the opportunity to look at it. So again, you know, that whole issue of freedom of expression coming up there. Just to show you a couple of reactions across the social media as well, Laura. Muslims should not dignify the Muhammad film with an answer, but the mob in Libya that killed an innocent man just did it a huge favour, says Nabil Chaibi, living in Colorado. Félicitations, well, congratulations to Sam Basile and his generous contributors for their profound stupidity. And one person, I suppose, I saw this a lot actually on Twitter today, noting the similarity between his surname and the word imbecile.
Yes, I'm sure you're not the first to notice that. All right, James Creedon, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
That's
Laura.
it for Media Watch. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with the latest headlines in a few minutes, but we'll leave you with web news.